It looks like the inflow of people starting to sign in has slowed down quite a bit, so I think it's about time to get things started. What do you say, Brian?
Let's do this, Lexi. So if anybody has not joined on one of these calls yet, my name is Brian, and I am with Special Olympics Iowa.
I am Lexi, and I am also with Special Olympics Iowa. And one thing you'll see Brian and I do to one another throughout this to kind of pass off the torch is pass off a ball. So this month we're welcoming basketball skills to you all. So I'm just going to virtually pass this to Brian to kick things off. You ready, Brian?
I'm ready.
Here you go.
Wow, what a pass. Last month, she actually knocked me out of my seat. She threw it so hard at one point. Good job, Lex. Okay, friends, we're excited to have you here. Anybody who is new, who hasn't joined us on one of these calls, we hope that you enjoy the experience. These calls are going to happen monthly, at least once a month. And typically, they're all going to take place at 1 o'clock on Wednesdays. So we're working with your teachers to communicate the information to you. So we're excited to have you here. Before we get too far in, I'm going to show you a quick instruction on your basketball. Some of you have received basketball with no air in it, and you've received this pump. I know some of you have seen this instruction last month, but we're going to show it to you again just in case for anybody who's new. You need to put air in your ball. We're going to give you an opportunity to do that right now. Right now, I can't use this pump because there's no needle in the tip of that pump. Where is the needle coming from? The needle for the pump is coming from right here, my friends. So we're gonna have you take the needle out, screw the needle into the pump. You take that needle, slip it right inside that little black circle right here, and then you can air up the basketball. So we're gonna have you guys do that during the beginning of this meeting while we're chatting. We're excited to tell you over the last couple months, Lexi and I have run some really good conversations about inclusion and leadership and how you can be a leader in your school and what it looks like maybe in a virtual world. We've had some great conversations with many of you over the last couple of months. But today, instead of you hearing from us each month, we wanted to invite some students on board so that they can talk to you and tell you about what it means to be a leader in their school and how they're showing leadership in school or maybe during a virtual world and so on, and how inclusion has impacted them. And so what we're going to do is we're going to invite some wonderful student leaders from Roosevelt High School in Des Moines, Iowa. We would like to invite our friends Brooks and Theodore from Roosevelt High School. They've been preparing some information to share with you.
And Theodore, do we see Theodore on here?
Is Theodore possibly in a different name? Miss
It
Mackey,
could be
you might
Miss
be able to help
Mackey.
us with that. Brooks, is Theodore there?
He's there. He has his own name.
Okay. Why?
Oh, I think I just saw him.
Does he have his camera on?
Yep, he has a finger
His
up.
hand is up,
Give us a
and-
wave. There you are. Okay, I unmuted you.
Okay,
Wonderful. Theodore
can you guys
and
hear? Okay,
Brooks.
give me 1 second, I'll be ready.
Brooks is still muted, it says.
Yes.
There we go.
Can you guys hear me?
Sure can.
We sure
I
can.
Okay, ready?
Theodore,
Yep.
we might have you tilt your camera just a little bit too so that we can see you.
Is that better? Okay. Okay, ready?
Yep.
Hello, my name is Theodore and I go to Roosevelt High School.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brooks, and I also go to Roosevelt High School. Theodore and I are student leaders at our school.
What a student leader, Brooks.
I'm so glad you asked. A student leader is any student that intentionally encourages others to be positive and accepting. A student leader reaches out to others to make sure everyone feels included. Theodore and I help plan events at our school to help spread inclusion.
Inclusion is an accepting and invite people of all abilities to join in whatever you are doing.
At Roosevelt, we play sports, get together for arts and crafts, play games, and encourages others to join. Anyone can be a student leader.
Anyone?
Yep, even all of you.
What else can leadership look like at school?
Well, some schools may offer unified sports, clubs, and intramurals.
At Roosevelt, we have unified bowling, basketball, and track and field.
We have a lot of fun with unified sports. You can also offer unified student council, unified art or music clubs, and anything else you really want.
I know it can be hard not being at school, but you can also be a student leader from home.
Yes, you can. Get your club together for unified hangouts. Get together on Zoom a few times a month to do activities or just chat. This week, our school is decorating cookies together over the computer. A few weeks ago, we actually decorated gingerbread houses.
It was a lot of fun. I use a lot of frosting on mine. Get together with a friend or a buddy and accept unified even through together or join by yourself and make new friends.
I hope we have given you a lot of great ideas on how you can be student leaders at your own school.
Wonderful. Thank you, Theodore and Brooks. Do either of you have anything else that you want to add? Maybe you want to share maybe like a personal story about being a leader or anything like that, or having been involved with unified sports at your school?
Yeah, I love unified sports. I mean, it's something that, everyone's just so welcoming and opening, and it really kind of brings like the whole school together, and you can really rely on like the unified club and the unified people that are in that club. You can kind of rely on them to like, be your friends every day and say hi in the hallways or send a text message to them if you can't see them in the hallways. You can always rely on them on being a good friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Brooks. So Theodore, do you have anything else that you would like to add? I've known Theodore now for, I think, about 1.5 to 2 years, and I believe Theodore has been part of the unified basketball team, I believe, and a few other programs. And Theodore, we'd love to hear from you if you have any specific experiences with unified sports that maybe you'd like to share. Or any best friends that you met through?
Unified sports is fun and making new friends that you never met before. So it's fun.
Wonderful. And Brooks and Theodore, I have a question for the two of you. Do you think without unified sports in your school, do you think the two of you would know each other?
I don't think so.
Okay.
We definitely would like see each other in the hallways, but I don't think we'd be on the same personal level that we would be on to this day.
So this has kind of encouraged a stronger friendship for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, good, wonderful. Well, thank you two so much for joining us, and we obviously want you to continue on, stay on the call with us, and there might be opportunities for people to ask questions of you later. Miss Mackey, that's your teacher, and thank you as well, Miss Mackey, for helping us to organize this opportunity for Brooks and Theodore to join in on the call and speak. So wonderful. You guys have a basketball that you need to pass back to us, actually. Get ready. All right, very good. Good job, Brooks. Good job, Theodore. So friends, we're gonna chat with you a little bit about basketball and move into some more programming for this. What we wanna do is we're gonna talk to you more about the specific basic skills of sports. So let's assume that you're gonna go into competition, you're gonna have an activity, you're gonna go into any sport and have competition with other people against somebody. Why is it important to practice the basic skills of that sport? What we want you to do is maybe just drop that in the chat. We want you to put an answer in the chat, and then we might we might actually invite you to talk. So the question is, why is it important to practice basic skills of a sport before competitions?
Or even if you do have something to say, you could use one of the reactions and either give us a wave or a thumbs up. And oh, I see someone giving us a wave.
Let's ask Autumn Garlow. We're going to unmute you, Autumn. We're going to ask you to maybe tell us a little bit more about your answer, to have good sportsmanship. Where is Autumn on here?
I just asked Autumn to unmute herself.
Perfect. Autumn, looks like you're there. Can you tell us more about your answer?
To get better and like to say good game, like good basketball game at the end, that is showing not only team effort but good sportsmanship to other teams.
Wonderful. Very good.
Awesome.
Very good.
I think a huge part of being on a team is just having those good relationships with your teammates. So great answer, Autumn.
Perfect. Thank you, Autumn. And it looks like another person says so that you can know what to do when you're playing. And then there's Iris says so it's easier to play because practice makes perfect. Learning to work together. Man, you guys got so many good answers, to this. That is all correct. It's incredibly important, and we want to encourage from our office that anybody's doing sports and competition, we want to encourage you to practice the basic skills of a sport before competition, because we want you to be proficient. We want you to know how to play. We want you to know how the activity or the game works. And we also want you, more importantly, to be doing it in a manner that's safe. We want you to do it in a way that you're not going to get hurt. And you learn how to do these activities through practice and through knowing the basic skills of that sport. Lexi Lou?
I'm ready. Perfect. Thank you, Brian. So when we look into the specifics a little bit more of the game of basketball, how about everyone just drop something in the chat really quick? What are some maybe movements or smaller basketball skills that you would use in a basketball game? Trying to look at the basketball, definitely keeping your eye on the ball, maybe when you're catching it, that's super helpful. I am seeing dribbling, absolutely.
Shooting, yes.
Shooting and passing, absolutely. Those are all, pretty foundational skills in the game of basketball. Running, absolutely. Jump shot, layup, focus, blocking, you guys are great. You're really hitting the nail on the head here.
Man,
so,
you guys are awesome.
Yeah, really awesome. So we're going to go into each of these skills a little bit more and kind of give you some smaller tips with each one so that when we're able to do unified sports and be on an actual basketball court, you guys now have a basketball to practice at home with, and you'll kind of have a base of knowledge about these different skills. So of course, running is an important part of basketball. Basketball is a very cardio-based sport. If you've ever played a game of basketball or even a half of a game, a quarter of a game, you will be tired. Okay, so it is super important to keep up with your breathing. I always find it most helpful to breathe in your nose and out your mouth. And of course, you always want to use your running arms whenever you're not dribbling the basketball. That'll just make sure your whole body is working for you, not against you. And then another super important of sports in general, and especially sports that are very heavily cardio-based, is to drink your water, okay? I drink lots and lots of water every day, so whenever I don't drink enough water, my body can really tell. So it's really important, especially if you're really exerting a lot of energy running, to drink lots of water. The next skill that you all mentioned was passing. And of course, that's when that teamwork aspect will come in. Having a good relationship, even with your teammates, having that open communication on the court, that's going to be really important. And we'll have some drills to show you in the video that's coming up on passing. Shooting, same thing. The video we're going to show you, Brian goes through a lot of different shooting tips and techniques. Of course, you don't want to just launch it from both hands. You know, you have that one base hand sitting under the ball, and then you have the guide hand right next to the ball. So there's some tips coming your way for that. And then dribbling, of course, definitely a very foundational part of basketball. We all know, or we might know the term double dribbling. That's not allowed. Always dribble one hand. You want to try to keep really low, knees bent, and try to dribble at hip height. And again, that video we're about to show you all, we'll go through some more of those specifics. So Brian, are you ready?
I'm ready. There it is. Okay, friends, so we're going to share our screen and we're going to play a video for you that we created within our office, just about the skills and techniques about playing basketball, essentially just the same information, or talking about the skills that Lexi and that you actually just mentioned as well. It's about a 5 to 6 minute video, and hopefully it will share properly. If by any chance anyone's experiencing it not sharing properly or you're unable to hear it at all, then drop that in the chat and we'll address it. And then also as a reminder, it will also be sent to your email addresses tomorrow. So give me just a moment to get it shared here.
Brian Coffey here with Special Olympics Iowa. We're excited to have you participating once again in the monthly Unified Champions Schools virtual programming. This month we're going to talk to you about basketball. We're going to talk to you about how to dribble the ball. We're going to talk to you about how to shoot the ball. We're going to talk to you all about the different techniques and ways to participate in the game of basketball.
Hi everyone, I am Lexi with Special Olympics Iowa, and I'm going to show you 2 ways and 2 drills on how to pass a basketball properly. The first tip when you pass a basketball is that you want your thumbs to be touching or close to touching, and then tilt your hands a little bit downward. So touch your thumbs together, tilt your hands a little bit downward, and that's how you're going to get a good grip on the ball. The first pass I'm going to show you is called a chest pass, and the point of a chest pass is to make sure that you have a really strong pass to your teammate, and when you're doing a chest pass, you want to pass to their chest. Not to their face, not too high, not too low. You want to go right to their chest. So right here on this hoop, I have taped a piece of paper with an X to it. You can also do this against a wall and pass it into a specific brick if you don't have any resources to tape something up. But I'm going to do a simple chest pass to the X on the base of the hoop. So I'm going to position my hands at the back of the ball, make sure my fingers are tilted down a little bit, make sure I have a good stance, bend my knees a little bit, and I'm going to pass from my chest. Just like that. The second pass I'm going to show you is called a bounce pass. This one, you're going to bounce the basketball about 3/4 of the way to where you want to pass it to, and you're going to bounce it up to the X. So I move the X a little bit farther down because you're not necessarily trying to get it to the chest this time. You're trying to get it to a comfortable spot where they're ready to grab it and go. So this one, you're going to hold it the same way that you do for a chest pass. You can take a step forward if that helps give you some power, and then you're going to bounce it up to the X. There you go. That's a bounce pass. Hi everybody, my name is Katie Schroet with Special Olympics Iowa, and today I'll be talking about how to dribble a basketball. The first step you want to take to dribbling a basketball is having your feet about shoulder width apart and getting in a low stance. When you are actually hitting the ball towards the ground, you want to use your fingertips and you want to snap your wrist while doing it, like that. You want to try to keep the ball about waist height, so that way don't try to not be too high up. And make sure when you are dribbling the ball to keep your eyes up. And don't keep your head down to the ball. You want to keep your eyes up. And then lastly, when you're practicing dribbling, you want to have your arm up like you're defending off another player. And be sure when you're practicing to also practice with your non-dominant hand. So you can also use your left hand. Give it a try at home.
Alright, I'm ready now to show you how to shoot the basketball with some techniques that'll help to ensure the ball to go into the rim up there. First thing I want to show you is how to hold the ball. It's important that you're holding the ball properly. And you actually use both hands for shooting, usually. First off, you want to make sure you have the push hand, the push arm, and then your other hand is going to be the guide hand to make sure that you get the ball to go in the direction that you want it to go so it doesn't sway off from one side or the other too much. So, for me, my right arm, my right hand is the push, my left hand is the guide. The next is the positioning of your feet. Making sure that if you're doing just a standstill shooting and not jumping, just standing still, keeping your feet about square with your shoulders, and you could also have one foot behind the other. I usually shoot with mine just square, just like this, and then I get my hands ready and positioned as I mentioned, and then I bring them up like this, bring the ball up, and just shoot. Another tip is to arc the ball, trying to arc the ball rather than, like I mentioned, rather than shoving the ball. It's more like a flick of the wrist and having the ball arc on its way there. And a fun little drill that you can do to help practice is being straight with the hoop. You can do 3 or 5. You can do that 5 times. You don't have to do 5 in a row and make them all, but do 5, and once you make 5, that's great. Then you can go to step back another 5 feet, and do 5 more. And then you can step back a little bit further, and do it again, and just do 5 more. 2 sets of 5. And those are some techniques on how to shoot a basketball.
Hi everyone, as you've seen, those are some great basketball techniques that you can use during a competition. We have basketball skills for athletes that consist of a spot shot, a target pass, and a 10-meter dribble. The scores are combined for a total, and that is a qualifying score that will take you to the state competition. We also have, which you can include your unified partners in, we have team basketball. We have 3-on-3 half court and 5-on-5 full court. The state competition is in March in Iowa City. Try these skills at home and have fun.
Wonderful. Can everybody hear me again? Very good, very good. So that video will be shared with each of you tomorrow on an email, as well as to your teachers. The teachers are the ones who registered you for this program. So hopefully that was a fun little video. Hopefully that video will help you to get more active with your basketball in the future. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pass my basketball with the skills that I just learned over to our good friend Lexi, so she can talk to you about helpful tips, and we might even get a little bit active. Are you ready, Lex?
I'm ready. Thank you, Brian. Okay, now comes our favorite part of these activities. We're going to get up and get moving a little bit. Now, it's not going to be anything too crazy, I can promise you that. These are more so just to show you what is on the activity list, and you all are able to do this, what we're about to do right here at home, and as well as add on to it. So if you need a little bit more of a challenge, you can always add on to what suits you best. So to start with some helpful tips first, like I mentioned earlier, breathing is so important. We always want to breathe in with our nose, out our mouth. Very important. You always want your body to work for you and not against you. So if you're keeping up with your breathing and you're using the correct arm movements, so those correct arm movements, I'm going to get this chair out of here. It's going to be opposite arm to opposite leg. So let's see. Get this just right so you can see me. You're going to run opposite arm, opposite leg. Make your body work for you, not against you. Now we're going to actually, if you're able to, get up and move around a little bit with me. We're going to go on to our warm-up, and then we're going to go a little bit into some activities that will get our heart rate up just a bit. So in basketball, you're always, you're going to stay pretty low pretty often whenever you do have the basketball. So go ahead and grab the basketball if you have it near. If not, no worries. You can just pretend it's there. And the first thing we're going to do just to warm up our bodies, we're going to start in this squat position. Just bend your knees a bit. And we're going to shuffle back and forth. We're going to make 10 rows of this. And we'll start now. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
You're doing great, everybody.
10.
Very good. I was scanning through, looking at all the videos, Lex, and everybody looks like they're all having a good time with it.
Awesome. That's what we like to hear. And then the next one, you are free to hold the ball if you would like. It's fast feet. So this one's really focused on your feet, not so much anything else. So of course you want to keep your running arms in use. And Brian, if you want to tilt your camera down a bit and show how you run on your toes in this.
Can you see my feet?
Yep, go ahead and start running. See how he's on his toes? That's how you're going to want to do fast feet, okay? We're going to do that 2 times for 15 seconds, okay? So hold the basketball if you would like. I prefer to use my running arms to help me on this. So I'm going to put my basketball down, and we'll start in 3, 2, 1. For 15 seconds. Do it for another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Shake out your legs a little bit. We're going to do that once more. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fast feet. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. Shake out those legs again. I know that always helps me a little bit. Okay, next one, in basketball, you're also going to be using your arms a lot. Of course, you're passing the ball, you're shooting the ball quite a bit. So you're going to want to make sure that your arms are nice and stretched out so you don't pull any muscles, okay? So first, bring one arm over to one side. You're going to hold it for about 10 seconds. Go ahead and switch. Other arm, hold it for 10 seconds. And put one arm over your head. I'm grabbing on to my elbow with my hand and pulling. And then switch arms. Grab your other elbow if you're able to. All right, good stuff. And let's throw in some arm circles too. Just get those shoulders warmed up. Forward, maybe a couple backwards. Good job. Okay. Now, moving on, like we said, you're always going to be on your feet, moving around pretty quickly in basketball. So I'm going to show you something called a 90-degree jump. Okay, so you can choose to either keep 1 foot on the ground like you're pivoting with the basketball, or if you just want to warm up your body a little bit more, you can just jump, okay? You're just going to jump 90 degrees. So this would be 180 degrees. We're just going to do half of that. So start here, turn 90 degrees to the side, okay? I'm going to hold my basketball for this. I'm going to squat down, and we're all going to jump to the right, okay? And jump. To the right again. Again. And again. Now this time I'm going to call out right or left, and we're all going to kind of try to follow along, okay? Right. Left. 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 Right. Left. Right. Right. Okay, my legs are feeling warm, everyone. Brian, how are yours feeling?
I'm feeling good.
Good, okay. We're gonna keep them warm. We're gonna do a quad stretch. So your quads are right on the front of your legs. So you're just, if you want to, hold on to a wall or something that will keep you stable. Grab 1 foot and pull back. You're just gonna hold this here. About 10 seconds, and then you're going to switch and stretch out your other leg. All right, good, good, good. Shake your legs out a bit. Okay. The next thing we're going to do, we're going to call them sky jumps, okay? That's the best I could come up with. So you're going to start in a squat and jump up to the sky. Maybe like you're going to go shoot the basketball, but you're going to hold on to it. Because for right now, I don't know where everyone's at. So if you're able to throw the ball, go for it. But I'm going to hold on to mine. So squat and jump up as high as you can. Squat and jump. Squat and jump. Good. Let's do 2 more. And jump. Last one. And jump. Good stuff. And the last part of the warm-up, it's called around the world. So there's a couple different versions of this, but for this one right now, we're just going to go around our body. This is really helpful to get used to the ball. So I have never played a lot of basketball growing up. So I'm not too familiar with how to hold a basketball, and I'm not very comfortable doing it. But this kind of helps get used to holding the ball. And then you can try to switch and go the other direction. I see some of you are really quick at this. I'm impressed. Got some basketball players here. Awesome. My arms now feel pretty warm too. Okay, so that is the end of the warm-up, okay? This next part, we're going to get our heart rates up just a little bit. And of course, this is kind of the part where if you're doing this on your own at home, you're more than welcome to amp it up a bit or take it down a notch, whatever works best for you. The first one, we're going to combine 2 things that we did on our warm-up. We're going to do fast feet and a sky jump. We're going to do that 5 times. So we're about 10 fast feet and then jump up to the sky 5 times. Ready? I'll call out the jump when to jump, okay? Ready? Go. Fast feet. And jump. Back to fast feet. You want to stay moving the whole time. And jump. Fast feet. And jump. We'll do 2 more. And jump.
Watch out for ceiling fans, everybody.
And jump. Good job. I can feel my heart rate going up a bit. It's going to continue. So the next one we're going to do is fast feet with a 90-degree jump. So I'll say fast feet and either right or left, and you'll go that way, okay? Ready? Be sure to breathe. And go, fast feet. Left. Fast feet. Right. Right. Left. Right. Left. Okay, we'll cut it there. Good job, everyone. And then, how about just everyone breathes a little bit, maybe do a quad stretch. It's always good to stop and stretch if you need a little breather. I know I do sometimes. Okay. Okay. All right, up next, we're gonna move through this. We're gonna do squat pulses and then reach up with the ball. We're just gonna do 5 of these, okay? Ready? You're gonna squat down 5 times and then reach up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, reach up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, reach up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, reach up. Last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, reach up. Good job. Now I'm just going to show you these last 2 or last 3, and then we're going to get on to a unified pair who is going to show us some of their own drills. This next one, Brian, if you don't mind showing this one, since you're so good at putting your computer at a good angle.
Oh, goodness.
Brian is going to do a sit-up. So maybe if you want to face the side, Brian, yep. You're going to do a sit-up and then slam dunk the ball onto the ground.
Who's going to come hold my feet?
Unfortunately, no one's holding your feet, Brian.
Sit up and slam dunk the ball on the ground.
Yep, you're going to slam dunk the ball at the end of your sit-up.
All right, anybody, is anybody on the other camera ends going to do this with me? Or I'm at least going to show. Here we go.
Slam dunk.
Can you hear the slam dunk?
And that is the sit-up with the slam dunk.
I think that was a slam dunk in itself, right there.
I think so. Okay, the next one, Brian, if you just want to stay right there, this one is a push-up. And on this one, I actually might be able to join Brian. You're going to do a push-up with the ball in between your chest. And feel free to take this from your knees or from your feet, just whichever you're comfortable with. And you're going to do a push-up and touch your chest to the ball. Come back up. Chest to the ball. Come back up. And of course, always feel free to take this from your knees. And that is the push-up there. And then the last piece is a squat and dribble in place. So that's pretty much what you saw Katie do in the video. Kind of putting together all your skills. You're going to squat and dribble the basketball. Try to keep your eyes up, your chest up, and the ball at about hip height. Whew, I'm tired, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and I think we have a unified pair ready to show us some of their skills and different techniques that they use. Let's see, could you give us a wave if you're on here?
I'm looking for Kaylee and Kate, or sorry, Kaylee and Elizabeth, I'm sorry.
Okay, I see Elizabeth, I'm getting you unmuted. Kaylee, okay, I see ya. I just asked you
Galaxy S6, it looks like.
Perfect.
Kaylee and Elizabeth, can you both hear us?
Yes.
Wonderful. Let's hear you talk real quick, Kaylee, just so we know we can hear you too.
Yeah.
Perfect. Are you ready? You got your basketballs. Lexi and I are going to pass it, all right? Lexi, get your ball ready on 3. 1, 2, 3. Good catch, girls. Take it away.
I'm Elizabeth.
I'm Kaylee.
Kaylee, what is your favorite part of basketball?
I would probably have to say dribbling.
Dribbling? Well, we're going to do some dribbling, so that's good. I like dribbling too. Is there anything about dribbling that's harder for you?
Just keeping the ball in place.
Yeah, that's definitely hard. One thing that helps me when I'm dribbling, sometimes if I'm partnered with Kaylee in a game and she's dribbling, sometimes I go a little bit slower if I'm pushing her or if I'm running alongside, and I can help her out if she loses control, and she does the same for me because I'm not a great dribbler, so she's there for my back when I lose the ball too. So how about we start with some ball taps, Kaylee? Does that sound good?
Sure.
So for ball taps, we're just going to pass the ball on our fingertips from side to side, just like this.
And people are welcome to participate and copy you too, correct? Can they copy you at their school right now?
Yeah, please do. And then if you want to add some flavor, you can try it out to a side to make it a little bit harder, or over your head in a circle. Kaylee, how are you doing with these?
I don't know.
I think you're looking good.
You're looking good, Kaylee.
I'm kind of laughing here for I feel like it's ridiculous right now.
This will help us so when people pass it to us, we're nice and ready, and it'll help our fingertips get ready for our dribbling.
And Elizabeth and Kaylee, are both of you on the unified basketball team at Roosevelt?
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought so.
Kaylee, should we transition to some dribbling?
Sure.
I think so too. So I think we should just start out with some dribbling in place. How about that? And Kaylee, can you show us how you dribble?
Yeah.
Perfect.
And Kaylee, you might need to talk real quick so we can spotlight you.
Hello? Okay.
Looking good, Kaylee. One thing Kaylee does really well is dribbling close to the ground, which is even more that's harder than dribbling from your waist. So if we're gonna all dribble in place now, and if you want to be advanced like Kaylee, you can dribble closer to the ground. Everyone's welcome to join in the dribbling fun. Kaylee, do you think we're ready for the next level?
I think so.
I think so too. Should we try to move a little bit while we dribble?
Sure.
Okay, I know it's getting a little bit harder.
I know. I don't know how I'm going to do that.
We got this. We can start with nice and slow, just back and forth. If you want to do a little jog, you can do that. Or go a little bit faster. And then Lexi, do you want to help us out with this last one?
Sure thing.
Should we do where while we dribble, we can pivot right and left just like we were doing before?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Can you call it out for us?
Sure thing.
Perfect. Here we go.
Elizabeth, count us down.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Left. 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 Right. Left. Left. Right. Left. How are you guys doing? Do we need a breather? Great job. And I saw some people just naturally start to switch their hands as they were dribbling. Maybe the ball went a little bit haywire and you could easily start dribbling it with your left a little bit better. That's awesome. You guys are naturals. Just always keep it whatever's most natural for you.
Elizabeth, Kaylee, you guys are still on if you want.
I think that's all we got, unless Kaylee want to add anything else.
I don't think so.
Perfect. So thank you both. Don't mute yourselves yet. We're going to have a little more conversation with you. Similar like what we had with Brooks and Theodore. Elizabeth and Kaylee, do you have any specific unified sports stories that that maybe were encouraging to you, or something that has happened or has taken place while you're participating in unified programs at your school? Maybe not just sports, but maybe even with the club.
I can go first. Oh.
Yeah, let's hear it, Elizabeth.
So in our last basketball game of the season, I think we were playing Hoover or Lincoln, which are kind of our rivals. And my buddy and best buddy's Ian, and he's also on our unified basketball team last year. He was on fire that game, and I missed a couple of shots. And whenever I would miss, we'd be running back. He'd come up to me, give me a high five. He'd say, "You got this, Elizabeth." And so then that helped me out. And that might not have been my best shooting game, but I started passing to Ian more, and he really boosted my spirits, which got me excited for the game.
Wonderful. Very good. Thank you. Kaylee, do you have any stories that you would like to share?
I don't think so.
Can I share one on your behalf?
Sure.
So if anybody knows Kaylee or doesn't know Kaylee, either way, she is wonderful. I've known her now for about 1.5 to 2 years. And not only is Kaylee involved with unified sports at her school as well as her club, but she's also done some global messaging with our Special Olympics Iowa office, and she's wonderful. And she has actually spoken at least one or maybe more of our fundraising events and has done an incredible job. And so we appreciate both of you, Elizabeth, Kaylee, for your expertise and knowledge and for sharing with us today your experiences with basketball. Brooks and Theodore, I also wanted to bring back to you real quick. Brooks, you brought up and mentioned something that kind of stuck in my mind earlier. And when you were talking about leadership, you mentioned that it was intentional, like intentional inclusion of others. And I really liked that. That's something that I think definitely stuck hard to me. And I'm hoping that that might be something that others might also agree with, because whether it's inclusion or whether it's leadership or whatever it is that we're doing, most of what we want within our Unified Champion Schools programming is we want it to be intentional. We want you to be doing stuff so intentionally that eventually it just becomes natural, and that all of our friendships that we have are just created naturally. And we want them to be strong, genuine friendships. So Brooks, Theodore, Kaylee, and Elizabeth, the 4 of you at Roosevelt High School in Des Moines, Iowa, we appreciate you. Thank you all so much. Miss Mackey, thank you for also communicating with our office to get the 4 of these wonderful superstars on here today. Lexi Lou, are you ready?
Brian.
We've got less than 7 minutes, so we're going to do this really quickly. Lexi, catch.
Thank you, Brian. On the activity sheet, along with this recording and the recording of the skills video that we tried to show you guys, you're going to receive an activity sheet that shows some different games that you can play. And some of those different games are probably similar to ones that you've played before. So just by a quick show of hands, who knows of or has played the game Horse? Awesome. So I've played it myself too, but we're going to call it Unified. So instead of spelling out horse, you're going to spell out unified. And of course, it's most ideal if you do have a basketball hoop to shoot on, but if you don't, no worries. You're more than welcome to get crafty at home or outside. It's been pretty beautiful out lately, surprisingly, in December. So maybe if you find a nice day, you go outside and set up a target that's a little bit farther away and try to shoot your basketball into the hoop or into the target. Now in the game of horse, you're typically out once you get an H, an O, an R, an S, and an E, and each missed basket earns you a letter. So in the game Unified, you're going to try to take as long as you possibly can to spell out the word unified because you want to be making your baskets, okay? So each time you miss, you get one letter. You don't want to get the letters. See how long it takes you. And then the next game that's going to be on your activity sheet is called Coach Says, just like Simon Says. So actually, just as how we did this with Elizabeth and Kaylee, how I called out right and left, very similarly, you could call up a friend, maybe grab a family member if you're at home and say, hey, could you help me out with this activity? And I'm sure they'll be happy to help you out. They'll say, Coach says, dribble the basketball. And then you go ahead and start dribbling the basketball. Coach says, jump up to the sky. You go ahead, jump up to the sky. But then what if they say, dribble with your left hand? You don't want to dribble with your left hand because they didn't say Coach Says before. Okay, so it's just like Simon Says, but instead we're going to call it Coach Says because that's a little bit more fun. And then figure 8. Now, I'm not the best at this. If anyone else here is good at this, please raise your hand. Give us a little show. A figure 8, I'm going to show you. You're going to try, see this is good because you can see me attempt this, to dribble in a figure 8 around your legs, okay? So you're going to want to dribble around your front leg, between your middle legs, around, as you can see, I'm not very good with the basketball, behind your left leg, and then in front. Or you can just pass it. I think I'm just gonna stick to passing it. That's more comfortable for me. Just pass it around your back leg, through the middle, over the front leg, and back through the middle, over and over again. And once you feel comfortable, you can try to switch directions, go the other way, draw an 8. And that is figure 8. Okay, the last one, it's practice for a layup. So on this one, you're just gonna stand, your ball in one hand, and you're going to skip in place. So my ball is in my right hand. I'm going to skip with my right knee up, okay? Pretending that there's a hoop right above me. Throw the basketball up, drive your knee up. Now, if you're sitting and doing this, you can still do that. Just drive your arm up and get your hand underneath the ball. Drive your arm up, get your hand underneath the ball, like you're ready to shoot the ball. Okay, and that sums up all of the rest of the activities on your activity sheet. Have fun with them. Let us know how they go, and hopefully we can see some of your guys' progress here soon. Brian, are you ready for it?
Ready.
Here you go.
Wonderful. Good job, Lex. Thank you, friends. Okay, so a few last added notes before we close out our meeting and we all move on through the rest of our day. Would like to remind everybody, and you may have heard this a little bit ago on the video, that our Senior Director of Programs here at Special Olympics Iowa, John Chris, mentioned that yearly we have our basketball competitions that takes place at midwinter in Iowa City. So you can register as unified teams if your school is doing unified basketball. And you can also do some individual basketball skills programs there as well. So we'd like to make sure everybody knows that. Obviously, we don't know what that looks like this coming spring, but keep an eye out for future programs. Lastly, we would love to challenge you to use your new basketball daily as you can, obviously, with weather dependent, to just keep yourselves active. If you were participating in this last month, you might also have a football. We'd like to have you use your football. Just keep yourselves active and moving for at least 20 to 40 minutes a day. And gaming doesn't count for activity, friends. Gaming might be fun, but gaming doesn't get your heart beating and your body moving. So we hope you've enjoyed this. We hope to see you all again next month. Make sure you speak with your teachers to see if they have registered you yet for the January program, because that registration will soon be closing. Teachers, if you have not done that, look in your emails and make sure that you get your students registered. Everybody, we hope you've had a great time. Lexi, Lou, any last words from you?
I just had a really great time once again, and I can't wait to see or hear from you guys on how your activities go, and just keep up the good work. Stay moving, try to get outside, and have fun with it.
Wonderful. Goodbye, friends.
Bye.